Hey, lovelies, it's Anne. I think I'm live, even though I can see. Yeah, I think I'm live. Hi, hope you guys are well. So, this is the 2020 Rise and Thrive online training that I've been promising you guys for about a week. So, if you hop on, say hi. If you catch the replay, let me know. I'm so excited to share this training, and I want to welcome anyone and everyone who does make it here. Thank you. Thank you for making the time to join me. I'm so excited to share this. So, I don't know, Facebook is not really showing me a lot at the moment. So, I'll just keep talking and hope that it's working and you guys can hear me and see me okay. Um, If you are watching, say hi, just so I know that it's working. And if you know anyone, oh hey Holly, awesome, thank you, thank you for that reassurance. I wasn't sure because sometimes comments just don't show up, and it's like, am I on? I don't know. If you know anyone who may benefit from this training, please invite them into this group and tag them because I promise you, I am going to share a ton of value with you, and I'd love as many people as possible to benefit from this training. This is the first time. Good morning, Marie. Thank you for joining. So this is the first time I'm delivering this kind of training, and especially doing it mid-year. Um, this is something I guess I typically offer to my one-to-one clients, but I really felt called to share this and share it free and share it far and wide, as I know so many people need to hear this, especially this year, because I know this year has been a difficult one. Usually in December, I run a free 5-day training. I don't know if any of you have caught that. It's very focused on planning. It's to help to launch the new year. In that training, we sort of look at goal setting and look at sort of the next 5 to 10 years and work backwards and set goals for, yearly goals, quarterly goals, monthly goals, weekly goals, and so on. And it's a great way to get started in a new year. And the funny thing is, so many people reach out to me and they tell me how valuable they found the training. And yet, I also kind of know a lot of people don't actually do much more with it because I guess that's the issue with free trainings. People don't always then follow through and implement. And, I would highly, highly recommend that you take something away from today's session and actually implement it, please. Um, so every year, I'll get into the training now. Every year, we all make these amazing New Year's resolutions, right? And the sad reality is that most people, I'm sure it doesn't, it's not the people on this call, but most people actually give up on their resolutions by the end of January. Statistically, so many people just give up. And often it's because they don't have a plan. They know what they'd like, but they actually don't have a plan. And hey, Cynthia, thanks for joining. Um, and people get really, really overwhelmed, and they know what they want. They have this dream, they have this vision, they have this idea for what they want to achieve that year, but they don't have a plan, and they get overwhelmed. And then conveniently, they forget. They forget about the hype, the excitement that they felt at the start of the year when they actually created that resolution. And this year, 2020, by March, the entire world was thrown a curveball. And that's taken so many people off track, possibly even the people who've been a little bit more motivated in previous years have been taken off track. And here's the reality, right? Some people have lost their jobs, their income, whilst others have still manage to have the best months ever in their business or in their life. So we're kind of all in this same storm, but everyone's in a different boat and everyone's got a different situation that they're facing. And if you can resonate to this, let me know. If you know people who are in very, very different situations, let me know. I don't even make them anymore, says Cynthia. Look, I know. I mean, I like the idea of having a vision, a goal, something to look forward to for that year. But yes, the follow through is the challenge that a lot of people have. And this year, like I said, it's impacted so many people in so many different ways. And what I'm here to share, the biggest message that I want to share with you, and I'm sure you've heard this, is if we look at this year and everything that's happened as being something that's happened for us and not to us, and the sooner we look at life that way, the sooner we can get out of our own way and make the most out of life. Because people who think that life happens to them, people who think that all these bad things have happened to them and not for them, they tend to remain stuck and they get stuck in their old way of thinking. I prefer vision to resolution, says Marie, and that's perfectly fine, yeah, to have that vision. And I'm going to talk about some other things as well in this training around vision and goals and the context with which we choose to live our lives and how that can make a huge difference to how we wake up every day and what we do. Because if we don't change the way we think, and if we just see these challenges as happening to us, then nothing changes. And I'm not naive, right? I know some very difficult situations can happen in people's lives, right? It can be a loss of a loved one, it can be a serious sickness, bankruptcy, you know, losing a home to a fire, even, because that's kind of a common issue that we have in Australia around the summertime. And no matter how bad the situation is, if we can look at that situation and believe that difficulty happened for a reason and take away the lesson from that, then there's something positive to come out of every difficult situation, no matter how difficult the situation is. Right. So, in my training today, I'd love you to walk away with a whole new perspective on 2020. And I believe you'll walk away far more empowered than perhaps you may have felt before you joined this training. So, I want to ask a question. Who here is afraid to look at the goals or the vision or the results that you have achieved this year? Or worse still, so far in your life? Does it feel, if you feel brave enough, drop that in the comments, like just a yes or no. Do you feel afraid to actually look at what you've not achieved? Is it just easier to sweep it under the carpet and, pretend like it never happened? Because looking at it feels painful, it feels sad, it feels hard, it doesn't make you feel good. So if you're brave enough, let me know in the comments. And who here, this is my other question, actually self-sabotages their own efforts, so then they've got a great excuse for not achieving their goals or dreams? Just drop a 1 in response to that question rather than a yes, because I know there's a bit of a delay and I want to kind of keep track of who's saying what. So let me just quickly catch up. Cynthia says, yes, 2020 has happened for me and my life is about to get even more interesting. I've achieved so much already this year. I've quit my job and decided to follow my soul's guidance. Oh my God, Cynthia, congratulations. I know you said you were going to do it. That is so exciting. I know it's a big, scary thing to do, but that is so exciting. So congratulations, Cynthia. I'm so happy for you. And 1 for the self-sabotage. Look, there is zero judgment from me. This is something I have done too, right? So to be really clear, self-sabotage is when we say we're going to do something and then we don't follow through. I know this year has been difficult. I know people are writing, like it makes me so sad, but some people are writing this year off. And I think that's a really bad idea, as the current situation we are facing could be our new reality, right? And by not addressing our current situation, we are just delaying the inevitable. We are wasting time, our most precious commodity that can never be replaced, right? And by waiting for a new year, a new month, a new week to start, we're wasting time. By waiting for COVID to end, we're wasting time. By waiting for the economic climate to improve, we're just wasting time, right? We have half a year left. We can still achieve our vision, our goals, whatever we choose. I've been that person who made New Year's resolutions and didn't follow through on them too. I've also been that person who snoozed the alarm 10 times in the morning, not wanting to get out of bed, right? I am far from flawless. I've been the person who said, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it on Monday. I'll do it next week. I'll do it next month. I'll do it on the 1st of August. I'll do it in 2021. It's an easy trap to get caught in, right? A really easy trap to get caught in. So Marie says, for this year, 2020, I actually feel we have come out on giving savage bushfires and then floods in our area, and I'm grateful that our home and family are safe. I feel the need to act for action and change with the current COVID situation. So I think most like, oh my goodness, sorry, Marie, there's more. It is our new reality, absolutely. And you're absolutely right, Marie. In Australia, and I know in other parts of the world too, we've had some crazy things happen this year. We started the year with fires in Australia, and I know it happens in other parts of the world too. And then COVID, and then the next thing, and the next thing. But these things are just part of life, and if we believe they happen for us, and I'll talk a little bit more around that, we can take a whole new perspective than if we believe it's happening to us, and it's just doom and gloom. Because that whole trap of waiting, waiting for something to end and waiting for something to finish, and we don't have control over any of that, but we do have control over how we wake up every day and how we feel every day and what we do every day and what we do the next day, because we just let ourselves down by putting things off, right? Because they're all really great. In some cases, we truly believe they're really good reasons, but they're also really good excuses. When I was that person who always put things off, because I was that person for a long time, I couldn't understand why people wouldn't take me seriously, until I realized that until I was true to my word, and to the promises I made to myself, I had no chance of having any impact that I wanted to have in my life or in my business. I realized that you can talk the talk, but if you don't walk the walk, people can see right through you. When I started being a person of my word, and I'm still working on that, yeah, it's never about letting other people down, by the way. It's about letting ourselves down, right? I think a lot of us have the integrity where we never let other people down, but this is about letting ourselves down. When I started being a person of my word to myself and following through on the commitments to myself, somehow everything changed and people noticed. And people started to acknowledge me and admire me. And they were inspired by me, right? It's just a really weird thing. So we have 165 days left, right? And in the online world, so this is a little bit focused on life, but it's also focused on online business. In the online world, in this online space, that's a lot of time. It only takes a moment, one moment, to make a new connection online. Just like that, you can make a new connection. Online, as in on the internet, everything is less connected to time. You can double your audience as fast as you want. You can sell 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can share a post that can go viral. Anything can happen online. It's quite different to a brick and mortar business. Yeah. So, because with that traditional business model, you're relying more on the foot traffic and people sort of coming to you. Whereas online, we're at your fingertips. So even if, even if you don't achieve everything that you'd set out to do, that vision, those goals in 2020, if you keep working towards them, you'll be 100% set up for 2021 compared to if you wrote off this year and just gave up on this year and waited for COVID to finish, waited for the economic climate to improve, waited for whatever the next drama, the current drama is in our lives. And I say drama in a genuine sense. I have got so much drama in my life, I don't even talk about it, right? I just, I'm going to share it right now because I want you all to know my life is not sunshine and roses all the time. I love my life. I am so grateful for everything that I have in my life, but it's far from sunshine and roses. My dad is blind and he's 80. He's been blind for the majority of his life. My mum has Alzheimer's. I am their only family in Melbourne. My dad just calls me 5, 10 times a day needing something. I'm trying to run 2 businesses. I'm trying to be a mum. I'm trying to be a wife. I'm trying to look after a home. We've got horses. There's all sorts of stuff going on in my life too. And there are days like today, I actually feel like crying. And I probably will straight after this training because I need to let this all out and then take some intentional action towards helping my parents. But I can't let all these things stop me from achieving my dreams and living the life and having the best possible life that I can. I just can't. I don't want to. We all have stuff and we just need to do the best that we can. We need to cry when we need to cry. We need to scream when we need to scream. We need to breathe when we need to breathe and get through it. So back to the training. In my experience, people are spending money online regardless of COVID-19, regardless of any economic crisis. And if you have a business and they aren't buying from you, I know people on this call are sort of at various stages, but just, if you did have a business and they're not buying from you, it's likely it's because they don't even know that you exist and that you have something to sell that they actually want. Business can be as simple or as complex as you choose to make it. Simply put, in business, you need an offer, which is a product or a service, and you need to get eyeballs, people to see that offer. That's it. That's all it takes. Regardless of what your goals are and your vision is for this year, whether it's business or weight loss or whatever your dream is, it would be incredibly short-sighted to waste the second half of this year because you could get some serious momentum. So, what are some of the things that you've accomplished this year? I'd love to hear some celebrations. Like, what have you accomplished? So for me, I've had my biggest months in business yet. I've had a $10,000 sales day, which is this is in my coaching business. We've achieved it in my construction business, but in my coaching business, it's a new thing. And it's such an elusive thing, like everyone wants this big $10,000 number. First was the $10,000 month, then it was the $10,000 day. And I've created this group program that I'm so incredibly proud of because I had a lot of resistance to creating a group program because I've been delivering one-to-one and I didn't feel I could deliver the same level of service and so on, but I've done it. So they are my accomplishments. They're my achievements. And there are many, many, many more. But I'd love you to share in the comments what you're celebrating. Because everyone should have at least one thing. I'm sure there are also things that you had on your New Year's resolutions or goals list or vision for this year that you haven't yet achieved. So what are they? So for me, there's nothing that I feel that I haven't yet achieved because it's only halfway through the year, right? And so I'd like to have more numbers in my group coaching program. There's no doubt about that, but I know it's coming. So Cynthia says, I finally come back home to my soul and realize what I'm here on this earth to do. Oh my gosh, Cynthia, that is the thing, right? That is such a big deal when you know in your heart you have that full head, heart, and gut knowing that you're following your soul's purpose. That's really cool. I'm so happy for you, Cynthia. I've created a retreat-like space in my home, so I feel like I'm on vacation every day. Oh my gosh, that's really cool too. Yeah, and those little things, and I'm going to talk about a few more of those little things in this training too. It doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It doesn't take a lot of money, but it can make such a big difference to how we feel. So when we look at these things, when we look at these achievements, right, we celebrate the things that happened. But if you didn't achieve something yet this year, I mean, what does it really mean? You know, by not looking at what we haven't achieved yet, it actually has a lot more meaning, right? Because we're avoiding something. But what does it really mean if we haven't achieved anything by, not anything, because we've all achieved something, but achieved something big, our big goal by July? Does it really matter? But when we quit because of COVID or the economic crisis or XYZ reason that's going on in our life, then it matters so much more, right? Because we've given up. We've added a lot more meaning to something. A year is an opportunity to start again, right? That's all it is. A new year is like a new opportunity to start again. It's not an ongoing thing. There's 365 days in the year, and we set ourselves a vision or a goal or whatever it is for a set period of time. It's no different to sort of setting something that we want to achieve in a day or in a week. But pulling the plug on something halfway through the year, or even in December, because we're so close to the end of the year and we haven't got as far as we thought we would, or even halfway through a launch because we're hearing crickets, no one is responding, and pulling the pin on it is like, why? Because then we're just, it's self-sabotage. We're just making ourselves feel better, but we don't. We feel bad anyway. So why don't we just keep going? We can keep building on what we've achieved so far instead of giving up on what we didn't achieve. I mean, wouldn't it be absolutely incredible to look back on 2020 and think that was the year COVID happened? That was the year of so much uncertainty, yet that was the year I made the most of it. I made the whole year count. I made the 365 days count. We can't undo what we've already, done, but we can still make the next 165 days count. Imagine being able to say, I didn't give up, I didn't quit, I didn't throw my hands up in the air and think life happened to me, it's all too hard. But instead, I thought, well, life happened for me. All these things happened for me. So putting aside what's happened, what can we do in the next half of this year instead of writing it off? Why not dream even bigger, right? Why not? And get excited about what's possible. What if we can double our goals in half the time? What if we can have our best year yet? What if this year has happened for us and it's our opportunity to pivot? Like Cynthia, you made the decision to quit your 9 to 5. What if we did something that we've been considering for years? What if this is the year to be intentional and to be more purposeful? What if this is the turning point of our life to have the best future ever? Imagine your goals for the second half of this year. Imagine if it was just to wake up and smile every day and be happy. I know that sounds super simple, but wouldn't it be great to just wake up and smile and be happy every day? Imagine your goal for 2020 was to be just a better person than you were in 2019. Imagine your goal for the second half of this year was just to be braver. Imagine you got to Christmas 2020 and achieved everything, everything that you desired. How would that feel? I'd love to know in the comments, like, imagine how that would feel if you achieved everything that you desired by Christmas 2020. We are capable of so much more than we think we are. We can achieve so much more than we think we can, but only if we don't quit, only if we don't give up. So instead of making decisions based on things that have gone wrong, the difficulty, we could make decisions based on what we really want. Who do we want to be? What do we want to do? It would feel amazing, Cynthia. It really would. But we're not even giving ourselves a chance if we don't do it. What chance do we have if we just give up on the year and we quit and we give into all the environmental things that are happening around us? Even really difficult things that might be happening within our own families. I'm not saying we turn a blind eye. We can't. It's there. But we can only control what we can control. We can control ourselves. We can control how we wake up every day. We can control how we feel every day. We can. So, what do you really desire? That's the question. Do you want to be someone with integrity who me, can trust? You can trust yourself 100%. So I know that would be amazing, says Marie. It would, Marie. And, and we sell ourselves so short, and I don't understand why we do it. It's just such a shame. So I know there are so many different types of women in this group and who might be watching this training. And, some people are selling essential oils. Some people are selling t-shirts. Some people are selling coaching services like me, right? It doesn't matter what the business is. It doesn't matter what you're selling. It doesn't matter what you have to offer. You just have to be a person of your word. You have to show up. We have to show up every day in our business. Because social media is like our online shop. And we have to show up consistently. We can't show up when we feel like it. Because if we did that, imagine if we did that in a bricks and mortar shop, we'll go out of business. Because people will never know when we're open, and they'll drop by and they'll see we're closed, and they won't show up again. Whether you have one follower or 1,000 plus, thousands of followers, you have to show up in exactly the same way. And that's the hard thing when we're starting out in business. Because if we don't show up for that one person, we'll actually never reach the thousands. We have to connect with people we have to give value. That's what our customers expect. In a brick and mortar shop, you give value with, greeting someone with a friendly smile, maybe, or creating sort of a window display and other, displays and experiences inside the shop, right? So people can see the products and they can ask questions. On social media, it's the same, but just different. When it comes to selling products online, people don't just want spam. I know everyone on this, no one wants spam, right? They want to see beautiful images of the products in use. Consistency has always been difficult for me with my online business. I get it, Cynthia. It has been for me too. And I would hazard a guess, and I do know you, but it's not just from knowing you, but just from understanding how difficult it is to be consistent, is when you hear crickets, it's hard to show up again. And the thing is, if you don't keep showing up, you will continue to hear crickets. It's like this catch 22, and we have to show up for that one person. We have to show up for the person who's going to watch the replay or read the post. There are people watching us all the time that we don't even know about. And that's why we need to be consistent. And it is hard. It is hard. I've been there. I've not always had 2,500 people in a group. I had 0 at some stage. My sister was the first person to join my group. And that's how I started. It's hard to show up for one. It is. But if we don't show up for the one, we won't get more, because that one will become our biggest fan and she's the person who's going to be telling more people. And it spreads like that. Even though I have 2,500 people in this community now, realistically, honestly, when I look at my stats, about 800 are actually active. And probably only about 80 consistently comment, like, and discuss things. No, and of those 80, about 8 are really my, who are really into me and follow my every word and listen to what I have to say. That's just how it is. I'm okay with that. I know I'd love more. Of course, I'd love 2,500 raving fans who love me and show up for me and make me feel incredible, because that's what my ego really wants. But I am so blessed and grateful, Marie and Cynthia, you've shown up, and Holly showed up at the start. And I'd rather that. Even if no one showed up for this training, I know people will catch the replay. And if no one showed up for the replay, I know I showed up, because I said I would and I did. And I will continue to do this over and over and over again. Marie, you remember me when I first started going live? Oh my goodness, gosh, yes. And even now, 2 years, 2.5 years on, I still have to kind of go, right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I'm fine once I get going and I'm in my zone, but I have to still psych myself up for it. This is not something that comes naturally and easily for me, but I do love it. And yes, I have to be super honest, having someone else on a live with me, it makes it just so much better. But life happens. People are busy. Some people catch the replays. Some people don't even know that this training exists. And that's just the way it is, and I'll keep showing up for that one person. So when it comes to selling products online, people don't just want spam. Yeah, they want to see beautiful images of those products in use. I'm trying to talk about products and services, even though really I'm a service-based business and I help people with service businesses. But just wanted to touch on that. They want to see other people sharing experiences of that product. They don't just want to see the product. When it comes to a service-based business,
Our social media is still viewed like a shop. People want to know us. They want to know the person who's offering the service. They want to know, see the behind the scenes. They want to know about our families. They want to know who we are. That's just the world that we're living in now, and especially when it comes to sort of coaching type services where it's a very personal connection type thing. They really want to get to know me and to get to know us, and I'm okay with sharing the goods and the bads, the vulnerable side of me, and the wins and the inspiring things that I do. That's part of who I am, and I'm human, and that makes me more relatable too. Because if people only saw something that was perfect, they think it's not achievable. They think they can't do it themselves. And no one's perfect. And we can't strive for perfection because then we'll just fail before we even start. I think your one-on-one calls made you very real. Thanks, Marie. Yeah, look, that personal connection, and everyone connects in different ways. And that's why I keep doing video as difficult as it is, because it really helps with the connection. People get to know you so much better compared to a written post. But it's better to do a written post and never to do a video than not show up consistently. That's the thing, right? People need to get to know you, and they get to know you through stories and through sharing as much as you feel comfortable to share. People are watching us all the time. Some people will follow you for 2 years before they buy anything, and other things may buy something after just one day of knowing you. We have to be planting seeds all the time because those seeds will sprout at different times, So it's about building the connections. And what we have to remember is that people want to buy, they do, but they don't want to be sold to. So people are more likely to buy products or services when they feel a connection with someone, and hence and that's social media. That's what social media is all about. And especially when it comes to products like, I just picked essential oils. I don't know anything about essential oils. I use them, but I don't sell them because everyone's selling essential oils. Not everyone, but you get the point. A lot of people are selling it, and there are lots of incredibly good products out there, good brands, good products. So when everyone's selling the same thing, you've got to be the person that's different. It's not about the product, it's about the person who's selling the product. On social media, people want to be inspired by you. True story. And sharing content about what you have learned, things you've done, they're all inspiring. And if you're someone, and I have felt this way too. If you're someone who feels like you have nothing to post, I no longer feel this way, by the way. I've always got something to post. I've always got something to say. I find it really easy. But when I first started, I used to find it really hard. And the problem is, it's not that you're not posting. That is a problem from a consistency perspective. But the real problem is that you're not doing anything that's worth sharing. And it doesn't have to be about, your trip to Paris or about drinking champagne. It doesn't always have to be the bells and whistles and the sunshine and roses, but we need to do things to share about it. And I know that may come across as harsh, but if we're not doing anything in our life and just looking at four walls, even with lockdown, no matter how simple life is, if you are inspired by it, if you are happy in your life and inspired by it, someone else will be too, guaranteed. But if you're not inspired by it, No one else will be either. And that's something that we need to address. I mean, so what can we do to have more fun? What can we do in isolation and lockdown? You can go into your garden, oh, not so much in Melbourne because it's wet and cold, but you can, and have a picnic with your partner or your kids or both, everyone. You can play music and dance. You can have a Zoom call with girlfriends. You can have a bath, light some candles, pamper yourself, do your nails, whatever's your thing. Like Cynthia, you've created this beautiful space in your room. That's it. I don't know how much effort that really took, but it's not hard to do, and it just makes you feel good. And when you feel good, then you want to share about it, and you inspire somebody else to do something like that too. The biggest issue when it comes to business and online business is that we want it, but sometimes we're not willing to do the work. We want all the good stuff that comes with it, like working from home, working around family, and love taking baths for pampering. Yeah, my kids really love baths too, actually. Yeah, I like a bath. I find it really. I'm just I get cold really quickly, and so I can't sit in a bath for long, but I do like a bath. Um, and yes, I was just sort of thinking about wanting a business and really wanting a business. And the issue is it's not about the motivation, it's about the discipline and the follow through. So, being a person of your word, the integrity, the commitment that you make to yourself, the discipline, and the follow through. And because, you know, as an employee, you have a boss, you'll get paid at the end of the week, and you have to show up in order for your boss to be happy and for you to get paid. And so, as much as you hate your job, it's easy to do that, or it feels easy to do that sometimes. Yet in business, you've got to wake up and you've got to be a person of your word. You've got to follow through on what you're going to say. You've got to have the discipline. And it's easy sometimes to let yourself down, like we've discussed on this call. And then you feel stressed and you feel anxious, and then you don't get the results, and you get into this spiral. And you don't show up fully in your business, and then that impacts. So, as I mentioned before, building a business is more about people buying than about us selling. And when everything we do is in full alignment, and what I mean by alignment, for me, this is how I think of alignment, is my head, my brain, my heart, and my gut all want the same thing. When you have that, it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Business is cool. Business is great. Everything comes easily. But sometimes your heart wants something and your gut feeling is it's a good thing to do, but your head has all these limiting thoughts and thinks you can't really do it and doesn't think you're good enough and thinks that no one will care and worries about the judgment and etc etc, and then that stops the ease because there's a misalignment, because your head, heart, and gut is not in alignment. Does that make sense? That's my way of thinking. So when something starts to feel hard, I have to stop, and it takes a moment for me to do this, but I have to kind of go, okay, what's going on? Is it something in my gut? Do I have a gut feeling about this is not right? Because my intuition is pretty good, actually. I've got a really good intuition. And so then I have to check in with my gut. And then sometimes it's like, no, it's just I've got some stupid belief in my head that I need to address. And then I have to just, yeah, I have to find the evidence. And it's always a limiting belief, you know, it's always a limiting belief. So, and I have to sort of work on that and find the evidence that it is a limiting belief and it's not true. So, assuming your goals are in full alignment, how to get the best possible outcome from the second half of this year is to lead yourself forward in the most positive and impactful way, taking 100% responsibility. No more excuses, no more blaming, no more caring what other people think, no more fear, no more staying stuck. And don't get me wrong, all those emotions and things come up for me all the time too. But I don't let them stop me or overrule what I want. As I mentioned earlier, I'm far from flawless, right? I just have the awareness to notice that emotion coming up, and I can lead myself through it. And I have a coach as well that can help me. And that's what I do for my clients as well, right? And that's where it's kind of handy to have that sort of third party that helps to see your blind spots, because they are blind spots. And we can choose to be that person today. Today, not tomorrow, not next Monday, not on the 1st of August, not on the 1st of January 2021. We can choose today, because there will come a point in our lives when it will be too late. There'll be the end. As depressing as that sounds, there will be no tomorrow. And the last thing personally I want is to have any regrets. So, leading yourself. Did you know? I'm sure you do, but there are different levels of leadership, right? And so the top 1% of leaders, everyone knows them, the Richard Bransons, the Bill Gates, the Tony Robbins, the Oprah Winfreys of the world, right? They're like in the elite, the top 1%. And they've just got it. They've just got it in them. They're laser focused. They're on that mission from the start. And there's nothing that can stop them or get in their way from achieving that goal, right? That's like the top 1%. But then there's another level of leadership, which I believe is like around the next 10%. And believe it or not, that's quite attainable if you actually do what you say you'll do. You just have to be honest with yourself and follow through. That's all it takes. Very few people are goal setters. Very few people. And 98% of people who set goals and follow through achieve them. So the question is, how would you behave? Would you be any different if you genuinely believed you had all the proof that this could be the best year of your life, 2020? That what's happening in the world doesn't impact. It doesn't impact you. It doesn't impact your business. And everyone wants what you have to offer. Would you show up differently? Tell me in the comments. If you knew this was going to be your best year yet and everyone wanted what you had to offer, would you show up differently? I know the answer is yes, right? See, what you don't realize, or what we fail to realize, is there are people on the fence everywhere, including in my world, who I don't even know yet. So Cynthia says yes. And they're ready to work with me anytime, any moment from now. As I shared before, there are people who've been watching me for anywhere between 2 years to 2 days who will reach out to me. And the most limiting belief that we can have is to think everyone in the world is experiencing what we are experiencing. Whatever that hardship might be, whatever that difficulty might be. If you think everyone else is experiencing that, that just limits what's possible. But if you choose to believe the second half of this year is full of magic and possibility, and if you actually want to claim it, anything is possible. Here's the thing, looking at only what we know to be true, right? Those guaranteed known results. So Marie says, yes, absolutely. However, I don't think I would want everyone. Absolutely not, right? We possibly couldn't want everyone. But I think we'll show up very differently if we knew we were in demand, right? But we're not even putting ourselves out there, some of us, because we're too worried that we may not be in demand. And what I'm trying to say is, we don't know what we don't know. And looking at only what we know to be true is the most comfortable way of living. It is. But if we know what's possible, because there are other people who are doing it, other people who are achieving what we want, then that's the next level again. You've heard of Roger Bannister. He was the guy that won or ran the 4-minute mile. He was the very, very first person to run the 4-minute mile. Then there was people like Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulb. The very first person. He invented the light bulb. Now, if they didn't believe it was possible, they wouldn't have tried. Right? I have more a fear of success rather than a fear of failure. I get that, Marie. I know, and I didn't used to understand how you could possibly fear success, but I get it, and I fear it too. And it'll be interesting to actually get to the bottom of that, because what is it that you believe is going to change if you're successful? Right? Is it that you're afraid people will see you differently, people won't like you as much? Are you afraid that you won't be able to maintain that level once you've achieved it? Are you afraid that you'll be so overworked that you won't have a life? It's one of those types of things. Are you afraid that you won't know what to do with that success once you've achieved it? It's those types of things that keep you stuck when the possibility is huge. The impact you can have is huge. Fear is a very, I don't mean this in a mean way, I feel fear too. It's a very selfish thing. It's a very egocentric thing, right? It's a very much about me, how it's going to impact me, and not thinking about what I can do and how I can impact others. And honestly, Marie, that wasn't targeted at you. That was a genuine, I feel it too. And that's what I have to sort of pull myself up on often and sort of say, it's actually not about me. It's about the impact that I want to have. Because, yeah, I'm not afraid of the impact I can have. I'm afraid of not having the impact or not getting what I want. And there was a time when I was afraid of getting too much of what I want and how I could be a mum and how I could be a daughter and look after my parents. And I still worry about that now. As my business is growing, I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this all? But then I'm sort of thinking, well, I've got more resources available to me. I can get more help. I've got more disposable income. I can get more support. I can get people to support me in my business. I can get people to support my parents. I can contribute more to charities and other organizations that I want to make a difference in. I have so much more to give. So back to there are so many people that we don't even know that might be wanting our services. I've got some notes, by the way, and so I'm just sort of going back to my notes. So because I'm also being really mindful, we've sort of hit the hour, and I so appreciate you guys being here with me. I'm very, very grateful, but I also don't want to go for too much longer because I know you guys, I'm sure you have a lot on your plate. Here's a perspective. Have you ever made an impulse purchase? Have you picked something up, then returned it to the shelf? Now, the owner wouldn't have even known about that. But then you've thought about it over and over again, might be for a day, might be for weeks, and then you went back and you bought it. What if, that's okay, Cynthia. Thank you so much for joining. And yeah, no worries. I'll catch you later. What if there are people like that on the fence about buying from you? And I know you may not have that business yet, but if you did have that business, or if you're about to start that business, and there are these people who really want what you have to offer. At the start of this training, we talked about self-sabotage. The thing is, we would rather pull the plug on our own success than give it our all. Because if we don't achieve the results, we don't want to feel bad. If we can feel okay with feeling failure, we will never fail. We actually won't ever fail because it's the people who are not okay with failure that do fail because they pull the pin, they quit, they give up, they stop trying. So to have the best second half of this year possible, we need to trust beyond belief that there are opportunities everywhere, that we can handle the success that comes our way, that we can have the impact that we want to have, that this can be our best year ever and the turning point in our life, and that we're planting seeds every day to reap the rewards when the time is right. Because how we show up in life and business, when we trust, like we totally trust everything's going to be okay, is very different to how we show up when we're focused on the doom and the gloom and everything that's wrong. Do you agree? So there are people who've been following you that may buy from you, and then there are people who haven't even met you yet who may buy from you. What I'd love you to see is that there is so much potential for old seeds to emerge and for new seeds to be planted. And I understand the extra challenge with this year has been the uncertainty. And when there's uncertainty, we just don't behave like we know what we're doing. We feed on the uncertainty and we lose focus. When you know what you're doing, it takes away the guessing and the procrastination and the thinking and the wandering. When there's uncertainty, it's hard to work out the way forward. So the best way is to work out the way backwards. So looking at the second half of this year and what you'd like to achieve, start with your end goal, the vision, and then work backwards. What things do you have to do to work towards that goal? So like I mentioned before, often with business, it's as simple as taking an offer, your product or service, and putting it in front of as many people as you possibly can. And with social media, this could not be easier. It's the structure of planning my goals at the end of the previous year is what gets me off to a really good start every year. And then I do this reset sort of mid-year as well. Especially it's helpful when things have not gone to plan, right? And that's what gets me back on track. So what we have to do is, what we have to realize is that it's the things that we're resisting the most, that's the biggest transformation opportunity in our life. So just sort of using an example of Facebook Lives, because we talked about it before. If you're avoiding Facebook Lives, that's exactly where you will find your next leap, quantum leap in your business. So contrary to what I used to believe myself, that constant hustle, work, isn't actually necessary. I've actually got a pretty open calendar. I mean, I couldn't possibly achieve everything that I do with my family and my parents and my two businesses and whatever, and sleep 8 hours a night and exercise and everything if I didn't. And I've achieved that very intentionally. And that's something that I obviously teach my clients as well. So we have 165 days left. That's forever, but also that's not long at all. So if you want to nail the rest of this year, then reverse engineer your end of year goals and think about what you have to do. Once you have the plan, just take action and just be. Let go of the outcome. You can only control the action you take. You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to worry what if. You just feel what you want to feel. The key is to be the person of your word and to have integrity and do what you say you're going to do. Imagine how you'd feel if your life partner, your husband, your partner, someone really important in your life did exactly what they said they would do, compared to if they couldn't be trusted and they didn't follow through on what they said they'd do. It would feel so stressful, right? Well, the same applies to ourselves. If we don't have integrity, discipline, and follow through in our business, in our lives, we have nothing. We won't have a business and we won't have the vision, we won't have the life that we want. And no one's perfect. No one's perfect. The main reason I reckon most people don't follow through on what they say they'll do is because their why isn't strong enough. They say they want something, but they don't really care. They don't really care whether they achieve it or not. Because, it's like if you really cared, if it was about your parents or your children or something that you really, really cared about, you'd do it. So I just wanted to share, I want to finish up, but I wanted to share something that my coach recently told me. She was actually bankrupt and living out of her car at the age of 25. She lost everything and reinvented herself. She says it took the same energy, the same effort to become bankrupt as it did to subsequently become a multimillionaire, which is what she now is in her 30s, having a huge impact and making a big difference. So I highly recommend you plan around what you want to do, how you want to feel, what experience you want to have, rather than what you want to achieve. That way you can control the situation so much more. So, for example, I might set goals around how many Facebook Lives I'll do, or how many posts I'll share on social media, or how many people I want to connect with, and definitely about how I want to feel, right? I no longer set goals around how many clients I'll sign up this week or this month or this year, or how much money I'm actually going to make, because I can't control that. I can't, but I can control the action that I take. I can't control those outcomes. I see every day as an opportunity to make, you know, memories and to get new perspectives and to get lessons for my life. It's not about just winning or losing. It's about how much I've got out of my day, my week, my month, my year. So, my goal for this free training was to give you a new perspective for this year. You can choose how you want to remember this year. You can choose to have more discipline, integrity, and follow through. You can choose how you will live for the rest of the year, what memories you will create, and what your desires are. When faced with adversity, so many people ask, why is this happening to me? Or why did this have to happen to me? And that's not the question to ask. The question to ask is, what can I learn from this? I understand it's hard in the moment to see the lessons, right? I've shared a little bit about what's going on in my life too. But here's the thing. If life happens to me, then I have no control. But if life happens for me, then what am I going to do next? Because I'm in control. You can make a decision today. You can change the course of your life forever. And I hope you found this training useful. And if you think this training or my work could benefit someone else that you know, I'd be so grateful if you'd invite them into this group and tag them on this training. My goal is to impact as many women in business as possible to live their best lives. And I know I can't do that alone. So I'm wishing you so much love, strength, happiness, joy, laughter to create the best second half of what could be your best year yet. If you have any questions at all after you've processed what you've heard today, please drop them in the comments and I'd be happy to answer them. And if you think you could benefit from working with a coach like me, who will lovingly challenge you, who will hold you accountable, who will give you the mindset and the strategy that you might need to build a life and business of your dreams, then send me a message. I'd love to connect and see if we're a good fit. Oh, thank you, Marie. I'm so grateful you were able to join me. And thank you to Cynthia and Holly. I know life is busy. I know, and I so appreciate you joining me today. And hopefully, I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.